I'm Holly Welch, the Environmental Program Manager for the South Carolina Forestry Commission. Before we get started on this year's video, I want to introduce you to the BMP foresters from across the state and encourage you to contact them whenever you have BMP questions or issues.
I'm Michael Broom, the BMP forester for the Piedmont region. I handle counties in the upstate, north of I-20 and west of I-77. Please contact me if you have any issues in this area of the state.
I'm Eric West, the PD Region BMP Forester. I can assist you with issues in the northeastern part of the state, mainly above the Santee River and east of Interstate 77.
And I'm Andrew Williams, the BMP Forester for the coastal region. I handle the low country below I-20 and the Santee River down to Jasper County. Please call me if you have any questions.
As we are all aware, roads, both woods roads and highways, are a very controversial topic these days. When it gets wet, landowners get upset as the condition of their road degrades, and county officials, residents, and travelers get upset about mud tracking out onto the main road. As areas around the state continue to grow, the small farm-to-market roads that were well accustomed to log truck traffic and muddy tires are now growing up with subdivisions, schools, and stores. Along with the issues of road condition, there are also concerns about the lack of encroachment permits when loggers punch in new road entrances and not properly crossing or cleaning out roadside ditches when a logging job is finished. Counties, cities, and the general public are pushing for more regulation on temporary road entrances to try to fix this problem. I'm here with Scotty Ferguson, the Stormwater Manager for Pickens County, to talk about logging road entrance issues. So Scotty, what's the biggest issue you see with log truck entrances onto the county roads?
Mud on the road, basically. When mud is tracked on the road, it becomes a safety hazard for vehicular traffic, and it also costs the taxpayers money because staff has to go out and clean up the roads and maintain the ditches to prevent accidents. Sometimes the ditches get filled in with sediment, and it prevents stormwater from flowing. So it can cause flooding on the road. So at the end of the day, it just becomes a hazard, and it also costs money.
All right, so why do these issues matter to the county?
Well, obviously it's a cost because it costs the taxpayers money to have staff go out and clean the roads and equipment, and it's also a liability because we could be liable if a car has a wreck or something and if it's raining and it hits the mud or water goes across the road, it can become a liability to the county as well.
What would you like to see done differently than what is normally happening day to day?
Just if the loggers would maintain the entrances where they're coming in and out of the road, and just be mindful that they are tracking on the road, they have heavy equipment, and just kind of, if they do track on the road, clean it up in a timely manner, and then be mindful of the ditches if they're getting any sediment in the ditches. Sometimes when they turn, they'll turn a little wide, and they may crack a pipe or something like that, a culvert that's underneath the road. Just be mindful of those things and just basically keep everything on site.
In this video, we will discuss using wooden bridge mats as an alternative to rock on your haul roads and at road entrances. Hopefully these ideas will help avoid road issues and allow you to keep your wheels turning even when the weather gets wet.
Some of you already use mats as part of your everyday logging activities. Some may use them when working on especially wet sites, and others of you may have never used them at all. These mats are traditionally used in the lower part of the state to allow logging crews to operate on wet, low-strength soils without having to make a significant investment in geotextile and rock.
This same concept can be used to minimize the impact of your logging job. Mats can be placed at road entrances, along wet portions of a haul road, and on the log deck to keep truck tires out of the mud. While there is an upfront cost in purchasing the mats, they have the potential to save you money on rock cost. They also can save you on costly downtime and post-harvest BMP work, especially with the wet winters we've been having lately.
Hi, I'm Roger Cantley. Work with Smith Logging Incorporated out of Andrews, South Carolina. A lot of the benefits, we're able to work a lot of days we wouldn't be able to work. As you see here, we've coming across this field without the mats, the trucks just wouldn't be able to make it across. The drier part of the field that's out in the sun all the time is been able to hold up pretty well. But as you get over in the shade and they don't really want to cut the buffer zone beside the road, it stays shaded almost all day long, so it never dries out. So it helps us to keep working when we normally wouldn't be working.
Y'all came out to one of our logging jobs that we have over here in UG, and we had to put down some mats to keep the guys running. And some of the benefits of having these mats are you don't lose production. You don't have to sit out a day. You're going to lose a little bit of time just getting them set, but the juice is worth the squeeze on that, because it's going to take you a couple of hours to get this set up and you're rolling again, versus having to sit out a day or two. Once you complete the harvest or the thinning or whatever it is that you're doing, and you pull these mats up, your road reconstruction and your finish work is cut. I mean, it's minimal. We can pull these mats up and dress everything back up to the original shape that it was in no time. Whereas if we didn't have them, I mean, you're got to wait till it dries, and then once it dries, you can come in and work it, and that's just too many moving parts. And these mats just really simplify. So the minimal time that it takes to put them down, it saves you days in the end game.
By having the mats and being able to do that, instead of coming and putting rock down at the entrance, and you only may be on a small sail, only there a couple of weeks, you pick those mats back up and take them with you, where if you put the rock down, you leave that rock there. You just left all that money. The mats you're picking up and you're taking with you to the next job. And at the end of the day, you save yourself a little money.
The mats range from $350 to $550 each, depending on what wood they are made from, the configuration of the boards, and the supplier.
Most contractors use a 2-ply style mat where boards are laid lengthwise and another set is bolted on top at a 90-degree angle to the bottom layer. This gives the truck tires a smooth running surface and gives the grapple something to hold on to in order to move them. However, there are a few different styles, and which one you use is a personal preference.
Yeah, these are full cover mats. We refer to as Virginia mats. They can be driven on diagonal, crossways, or long ways. And you can even put them crossways and drop a trailer with landing gear here when you got to drop a trailer in the wet swamp. And these seem to be holding up really well. And then these are just a standard mat. You can only drive on them one way. We've added 2 boards in the center instead of 1 to make them hold up better when you're picking them up. They're all made out of true 2x8s, mixed hardwoods. Some people want all oak, but I've had better luck with gum and mixed. The oak just is so brittle that it breaks.
Mats can be purchased new or used, and in some locations can be rented. We spoke to several contractors that use mats on a regular basis. As you would expect, the longevity of the mats depends on how carefully they are handled when being loaded, unloaded, and positioned on the sail.
Probably one of the biggest questions in everybody's mind is how long would they last, because they cost over $500 per mat. And the longevity of them is how well you take care of them when you move them. If you're rough moving them, they're not going to last very long. Like I said earlier, we have some here that's over 4 years old, but we try to be careful when we move them. We try to keep them stacked up, shake the mud off of them, keep them stacked up so they don't rot. And I don't have any that's actually sitting down on the dirt. I've got some old de-limbing gate that makes a good little rack to keep them up off the ground. And so the longevity, once they get about 5 years old, you're pretty much, most of them are to the point they're not usable anymore. But all that goes into how well you take care of them when you're loading, unloading, and moving them around with the skidder and the ground that you're putting them on. Stumps, if you have a stump that's in the middle of the mat, where the mat's rocking back and forth every time the truck travels, it's putting stress on those boards, and that one may not last as long. Just a lot of factors go into that, but if you be careful about where you put them and handle them carefully, you'll get 4 to 5 years out of them without any problem. When we're moving them with the loader, and it all depends on how we're loading them. If you're loading them flat, it's just, you just take your time. It's not like loading wood that you just pick it up and sling it. It's just to pick it up easy. Try not to crush it. You can't have somebody with a heavy hand on the grapple, closing the grapple. You just want to pick it up just enough so that the grapple just barely closes around the wood, and you can pick it up and it'll hold right there and you can stack them down.
They can be easily transported on a log trailer, lowboy, or regular trailer from job to job. They can be unloaded with the loader and then carried into position with a skidder or a track machine.
On some trailers we have the second and third bolsters spread out enough that they're like, I have 16 feet between them, so I can lay the mat just like flat on the frame in between those bolsters, and it enables me to put more because they're laying flat. If I only have to haul 3 or 4 to a site, I'll stack them up, and when I load them, I'll grab them on the outside board and be real easy with it and pick it up and basically lay it down in between this third and fourth standard, because on the plantation trailers, your back bolsters are always, the framework is always lower. If you put them up on the front, you have to be real careful that you're not coming in a place that has a low hanging power line or anything like that you don't want to catch and tear down. So I usually try to load them on the back end, and if you start getting over 5 on it, you start getting above the top of the bolster, and the bolsters are normally at the legal height, so you don't want to get up over that.
And I've noticed that when people haul them flat, whether it be in a log trailer behind a pickup, that they don't seem to get broke up as bad as when you got to pick them up and stand them straight up and then load them in like putting it in a slot.
To ensure the mats last as long as possible, they need to be set in place before the road becomes overly wet and rutted. If equipment runs over the road and it becomes unlevel, the mats won't have a flat surface to sit on. When a truck runs over top of them, they are more likely to snap and break.
To keep that going, whenever if we see a place that we think there's a potential to have a problem with the road, we'll try to go ahead and have them put them down. If you saw in some of the other videos, our entrance, we knew that was going to be a problem where we drove through the little buffer to get out on the county road. Before we ever moved the equipment in, we went ahead and had that wide span so the truck had room to make their swing and keep the trailer up as much as possible, to keep them up before. That way we still had solid ground and level ground we were putting them on, instead of trying to put them over a rut this deep. You just put so much stress on the boards, you start tearing them up.
On sites where the deck is located close to the road, the entire running area the trucks are on can be matted, essentially keeping the truck tires dry from the time they leave the pavement until they get back onto the road.
If used properly, wooden mats can be used in place of rock for your road entrance. The concept is the same as a rocked entrance. It provides a hard surface to knock some of the mud off the truck tires and allows the truck to transition from off-road to on-road without causing damage to the edge of the paved surface. If mats are to be used at the entrance, they must be installed correctly. The entire width of the road needs to be covered, wide enough to account for the trailer swing so that the wheels don't track off of the mats. They need to be set so that they are at the same level or slightly above the level of the paved road. If they are below the level of the pavement, the weight of the truck will cause the pavement to crack and will cause damage to the roadway.
The good things about the mats is the trailers, when you're driving straight, you know, everything's tracking fine, the trailers are tracking good, there's really no issues. But where you come into an issue is when the truck has to turn, or there's a little bit of a jog in the line that we're running, or back behind me, for instance, the trucks are making a 90-degree left-hand turn to get back to the mill. So we had to widen that access a little bit and kind of pyramid the mat. So we went from 4, 3, 2 to 1, just to account for the swing of that trailer, and that way that the back of it doesn't track off the mats.
And having a few of the mats just before you pull out onto the highway, it gives a chance for the tires to clear themselves of mud, and you're not tracking mud out on the highway and causing a dangerous place right in front of your deck for cars to be driving through. The last thing we want to do is give a bad impression to somebody driving by of our logging job.
When you are finished with the job, the mats are lifted, shaken off, loaded up, and moved to the next track or back to the shop for storage. As we mentioned before, they should last several moves if they are cared for properly.
Yeah, and the easiest way I found to move them was with a skid steer. And the one that we've got back here is about a $10,000 skid steer. We use it all the time. Construction jobs out here. But where it works really good is if this gets packed down in the dirt so tight that mud starts coming up. You know, the mud might be that deep on top of it. You can take them forks and pick it up out the mud and be gentle with it where you can't with logging equipment a lot of times. And flip it upside down and then flip it again, and it'll clean all the mud off of it. And then we've got a little trailer hitch up there that was actually to move trailers around with, is how we figured it out. But it works just like right, where you can slide the forks under and pick them up, and it's out the way to flip them.
We hope this video has been beneficial to you and encourages you to consider this alternative to rock to minimize your impact when the weather turns wet. For better or worse, South Carolina is a different place than it was 20 years ago. As the conflict between growing population and rural land use grows, a solution will be reached. If we as foresters and contractors do not find a solution to the roads issue, county government, state government, or the Department of Transportation will. Let's show them that the forest industry can be proactive, not requiring additional regulations to do the right thing, just like you do every day by using best management practices. The South Carolina Forestry Commission has established the Forestry Best Management Practices Cost Share Program in an effort to improve stream crossing BMP compliance and help protect the waters of South Carolina. Cost share funds will be available to eligible forest products operators for either the purchase of a portable bridge or the installation of permanent stream crossings associated with the timber harvest. To be eligible for the BMP Cost Share Program, applicants must be residents of South Carolina and be certified under the Top Logger Program administered by the Forestry Association of South Carolina or an acceptable equivalent. In addition, applicants must not have any tracts with unresolved BMP compliance issues. Cost share funding is based on actual expenses and varies by crossing type. Approved applicants will be reimbursed 75% of the total cost to purchase a portable bridge up to a maximum of $15,000. Permanent stream crossings will be reimbursed at 40% of the actual cost, not to exceed $4,000 per parcel. Applications must be approved before purchases are made to be eligible for reimbursement payments. For more information on the Cost Share Program and to find out how to apply, visit the Forestry Commission website listed on the screen or scan the QR code. You can also contact Environmental Program Manager Holly Welch if you have any questions. In addition to the Cost Share Program, the Commission also has 4 sets of steel bridges that are available for rent by adequately insured contractors for forestry-related ditch or stream crossings. There are 2 types of bridges available: a 4-foot wide set made up of 3 4-foot by 30-foot bridge sections and a 6-foot wide set composed of 2 6-foot by 30-foot bridge sections. The rental fee for either set is $50 per week. The bridges are located at the Forestry Commission offices in Walterboro and Columbia. Forestry Commission personnel will load the bridges onto contractors' trailers, but they must be secured and transported by the contractor. We can also deliver the 3-section 4-foot wide bridges that are located in Columbia. There's a charge of $3.50 per loaded mile from the Columbia shop. To rent the bridges or for more information, contact Holly Welch or visit the Forestry Commission website.
Road damage and mud on the roads are increasingly sensitive issues that could possibly result in more regulations by county and state government if not policed closely by logging companies. Mud on the roads is a serious safety issue, and ditch and drainage problems can also flood roads during heavy rains. Road mats can be used to reduce the amount of rock in ways that can reduce cost, and mats are recoverable where rock is not. Mats can hold up for multiple use as long as they are handled correctly. Where meeting the pavement, mats must be wide enough to account for trailer swing and should be placed at or slightly above the pavement level to prevent damage. Mats can be placed 4 wide where meeting the pavement, then reduced to 3 wide, 2 wide, and then to single track to provide for turning. Encroachment permits are required for construction entrances to logging operations and can be obtained from the SCDOT office in each county. As of now, you will have to have an encroachment permit from SCDOT for each county that you may be working in. Dragging mud onto the highway is just not an eyesore for the public, but also carries a significant increase in liability if a car has an accident where mud on the road was the cause.